Hi everyone, my name is Kritika and I joined TIFR in the Department of Biological Sciences in the year 2009 and I left TIFR in the year 2018 with a PhD degree. I am currently working as a senior scientist in a company called Farmeron in the UK. In my current role, I help our clients, which are basically pharmaceutical industries, who are in the discovery phase of their drug development process. I help them address questions such as whether their drug candidates are substrates to the efflux transporters in the cells, because that happens to be the common cause for multi-drug resistance in cells. My other responsibilities also include setting up complex cell models, such as organ-on-chip based systems in our labs. I first thought of pursuing a non-academic career somewhere in the middle of my PhD. I think it was around in my third year, I seriously started thinking of having a non-academic career. And there are a couple of reasons behind that. The first reason is that I was always interested in learning about healthcare industry. I was very curious about how drugs and therapies are developed, even before joining TFR as a PhD student. Even when I was doing my master's degree, I was curious to know how drugs are developed. If some drug was pulled off due to side effects or anything, I was curious to learn more about it. The other reason is that I found that in an industry-based career, you have more opportunity to show your soft skills as well, such as your management skills or your financial planning or your stakeholder engagement skills. So these skills are considered equally important as your scientific skills in a non-academic career. And that is the reason why I started applying for non-academic roles. How did I begin exploring these options? I think I started exploring these options when I started writing my thesis. After defending my thesis, I moved to the UK and I started applying extensively on LinkedIn. I had made a list of the companies which I liked, based on the work culture, based on the scientific area which those companies were working on. And I was narrowing down roles based on my skills and their requirements too. I was also talking to a lot of hiring managers and HR representatives on LinkedIn. And so I soon started getting interview calls. These interviews were mostly in 2 or 3 rounds. And that is how I first landed my first role, which was a research scientist in Unilever in the UK. But I must say that non-academic careers can also be very competitive. There is a lot of competition to get into these roles, and it can take easily up to 6 to 8 months to land into your first non-academic roles. So you really need to be very determined and not give up until you get your first role. How I landed my current job is an interesting story because, again, I was approached on LinkedIn by my current manager, and she told me that there is a vacancy for a cell and molecular biologist in her team who could set up complex cell models in her team. And I said, yes, I'll be interested to apply because it was already a higher role to what I was working on. And again, it was a multiple step interview, and I spoke to a lot of people in her team, and then I was selected. The best part of my role is that it is very fast paced. uh, as soon as we are in touch with a client, and if that study is finalized and all the agreements are in place, we start receiving their compounds, and we have to provide them data in within 5 days. So it is a 5-day turnaround time for my company. And so it really has to be very fast paced. You really have to troubleshoot really fast. I think that is the best part of my role. There is never a dull day in the office. What are the challenges? uh, I think the biggest challenge is that you really have to have a plan B and C in place before a problem appears. So there is a lot of foresight and a lot of thought process involved for alternative solutions. You cannot wait for the problem to appear and then come up with a plan B. You really should have a lot of advanced planning if things do not work the way they're supposed to be. Uh, if there's anything which I do not like my current job, well, I think what I don't like is that it is very client driven, it is very market driven. So maybe in the future, I would like to be in a position which is more innovation centric. Uh, if there is anything that makes me wish if I had continued in the academia, well, I think I made a very informed choice when I thought of applying for non-academic careers and not progressing ahead with a postdoc and a academic career. I did a lot of research. It was not an overnight decision. I talked to a lot of people. I I I uh, I did uh, plan it well. So, which is why I did not wish that I had continued in academia when I first landed in an industry career. I think it is a rewarding career. My advice for current TIFR PhD students is that you should have a vision of yourself where you want to be in the next 10 years or next 5 years. And it is okay if that vision is vague, because that is how it started with most of us. But once you start having those options in your head where you want to be in the next 5 or 10 years, you should start talking to people who are already in that position. And do not worry if they are at a much higher or a senior level, because you'll be surprised how helpful people can be for young graduate students like you. And you should ask them questions about how did they land in their first role, and how did they reach their current position, and really learn from their experience. Thank you.